Well, good evening, everyone. I'll call this meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. And it looks like all members are present, and we have no registrations for any public hearings, so we will go straight to the top of our agenda. And our first item tonight, item 190939, a resolution and report of the Board of Public Works on the cost of operating and maintaining the parking system in downtown La Crosse. Motion by Councilmember Christians and second by Councilmember Ostrom to approve. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 190951, a resolution authorizing use of contingency funds for the purchase of parks and recreation copier and engineering plotter. Motion by Councilmember Ostrom, second by Councilmember Jansen to approve. Any discussion? See none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Item 190953, a resolution authorizing the use of funds for a floodplain relief program. And there, motion by Councilmember Jansen, second by Councilmember Happel to approve. There is a proposed amendment, and that is in Legistar, and that amendment changes the total dollar amount from $10,000 to $20,000. Okay. Yep. Is there a second? There's a motion by Councilmember Ostrom and a second by Councilmember Christians to amend. Any discussion on the amendment? Councilmember Jansen.
So we had a pretty long discussion about this amendment at the floodplain advisory meeting that just ended a little bit ago. And I think there's some questions yet to be answered and some clarifications. So I'm going to abstain tonight and get some more answers. But I do think we need to take some action to help these residents on the north side, particularly with this high ground water level. But as it's come to our attention, one gentleman has an estimate of almost $50,000 to fill his basement, and I have to wonder if maybe we need to do a little more research before we move forward with this action. But so that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Councilmember Richmond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the reason I had put the amendment on Legistar, moving it up from 10 to 20,000, and it's 90% of the 20,000. And naturally, Councilmember Jansen did bring up some questions, but when you have the flooding that we've had because of the high water and basements caving in, I think it's more than justified, and we heard from a gentleman at the meeting that he has gotten estimates, and I've met with some of the constituents in my district that want their basements filled in because they are cracking and caving and so on. And this gentleman said he got estimates, and it's going to be probably $44,000, but there is an application process that the planning department has put together. I think it's very well put together as to what happens. You have to get your estimates and so on, your contractors, and it's just not about filling a basement, it's moving the appliances that you have in the basement up, and I think it's very warranted. I would hope the committee would approve that. So, and if we need to down the road, we can always make some changes for cost, but I think this is a start. And we heard last month about the family on Liberty Street, the costs that were associated. They had already paid $9,000 of their own funding, and then they found out that it was going to cost another $10,000. So that's why I used that $20,000 as the total right now. So I feel it's justified. So appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the amendment? Councilmember Ostrom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we've had a number of people come before the Board of Public Works that are having issues with water in their basements, and consequently they've had to pump out of their basement into the street because it has to go somewhere. And I'm happy to see that we're making some effort to come up with a solution to this problem. We aren't citing anyone at this time for doing what they've been doing just because they really have no choice, but we need to come up with a solution to this problem, and I'm glad that we're making an attempt. So I think we need to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Olson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess a question for Councilmember Jansen, because when she has questions, I pay attention. Would you expect to have the answers to your questions before we move forward with a vote next Thursday at full council?
That's my plan. I'm going to meet with some planning department staff hopefully tomorrow. And the gentleman that Councilmember Richmond referred to is actually in my district, and I've been working with him. And I'm not against spending money and with this grant program. I just am wondering if maybe there's a better way to do that for when we're dealing with some of these FEMA rules that really has complicated things. So yes, I hope that we'll have more information by next Thursday.
You piqued my interest with the mention of an expenditure in the realm of $40,000 to $50,000 to fill a basement, and I do appreciate and understand structural remedy in order to make a property habitable and livable. But I guess my concern is, would any of this money go towards basement filling, not because of actual physical flooding, but simply because the burden of the flood insurance is excessive, and we want to try, and naturally we want to try to limit that insurance burden. But my next logical question would be, would it be cheaper just to pay off the person's mortgage so they don't have to have that insurance burden? You know, like when a landlord comes in and buys a property with cash, they don't have to carry fire insurance on it. You know, that there might be other ways to solve somebody's burden if some of these measures are just simply to eliminate the requirement for insurance. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. In response, I would think, Jessica, the problem with that is, though, you're not helping the situation for the next homeowner who comes in there, and it's causing the tax base to, instead of houses increasing in value, they keep decreasing in value. So it does affect the tax base, and that's one reason that we're trying to get them out of the floodplain. Thank you.
Councilmember Jansen.
The other factor to consider is it's a quality of life issue right now for a lot of these residents because they do have water in their basement. This particular gentleman talked about going down to the basement with bleach just to prevent mold and mildew. So it's a very complicated issue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't and still have no problem supporting this, but Ms. Jansen's abstaining will cause it to come up for a regular vote next Thursday, and then if you have additional information. So I'm going to support it this evening, but knowing that we'll have more information next Thursday.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the amendment? On the amendment, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? And and Councilmember Jansen abstained. So the amendment passes, and then if you'd like to make a motion on the item as amended. We already have a motion on the item as amended. Move the resolution as amended. Okay. Motion by Councilmember Ostrom, second by Councilmember Christians to approve as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And we have one abstention, Councilmember Jansen. Okay, item 190959, a resolution establishing the 2020 through 2024 capital equipment budget. Motion by Councilmember Ostrom, second by Councilmember Christians to approve. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 190998, a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding regarding the hiring of police officer candidates. Motion by Councilmember Happel and a second by Councilmember Jansen to approve. And did you want to speak, Councilmember
Yes, I
Happel?
would, thank you. And perhaps Chief Abraham may want to give some specifics here, but what we're looking at here is something that will enhance our ability to bring in police officers from other communities, essentially, and opens up our compensation ability. And compensation is more than money. It's vacation, all of that sort of thing. But I'm going to use this as an opportunity to reference, we all see on the media the things that are happening around the nation as far as police officers, and we have, I think, one of the, if not the most outstanding police department in the state, if not the nation. But as Councilmember Christians and I both know, as we sit on the Police and Fire Commission and interview candidates, the quality of the candidates that we are interviewing continues to be excellent, beyond excellent. The number is really diminished. And it's probably a nationwide thing, but we need to be ahead of the curve as far as looking to enhance our ability to bring people in. So, Rob, I probably didn't do a very good job, but if you want to add to that, I would appreciate it.
No, I think you did a good job. Really, this is us trying to be as competitive as we can in the job market. And I echo what Councilmember Happel said. Right now, the job market for law enforcement is small. There's a lot of jobs and few candidates. So we have to do things to be as attractive as possible to those high quality candidates, and we think that this will give us a leg up for now until other agencies catch on and try to emulate it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 191018, a resolution approving the final contract and revised terms and conditions for the floodplain remapping of Ebner Coulee by the consultant Short Elliott Hendrickson Incorporated. Motion by Councilmember Jansen, second by Councilmember Ostrom to approve. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 191029, a resolution appropriating funds for Train Park from Tax Incremental District 15. Motion by Councilmember Ostrom and second by Councilmember Christians to approve. I'll recognize Councilmember Happel.
See, the mayor is going to say I talk too much. You never said that to me before. This is an excellent resolution, but in case the public thinks that we don't always pay attention to things, there was an audit some time back dealing with the Parks Department, as the Parks Chair Menninger knows, and this is exactly what's supposed to happen. There are funds that were allocated, but it's being moved from A to B and going through the council, so good.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 191030, resolution reallocating funds for Paul Park basketball courts from Pogue Park. Motion by Councilmember Ostrom, second by Councilmember Sliznico to approve. Any discussion? Councilmember Ostrom.
This is, again, following procedure that Mr. Happel has pointed out earlier. We originally, we being the Neighborhood Association and Paul Pogue Hamilton, intended to put the basketball court, replacing the court that we removed from Farnham Street, and put it in Powell Park. Unfortunately, the engineering wasn't going to work. There was going to be some drainage issues, and frankly, it was going to eat up most of the green space in a relatively small park as it is. So we have been struggling to find a replacement area, and with the help of Caroline Gregerson and Jay Odegaard and Jared Fleck. We have finally come to a solution, and we're going to put it in a corner of Powell, but we need to officially move the money from where it was originally allocated to where it's actually going to be used. So that's what this is about. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 19-1032, a resolution authorizing the La Crosse Historic and Cultural Museum Planning Task Force to enter into a professional services contract with the UW La Crosse Tourism Research Institute for the preparation of a La Crosse Historical and Cultural Museum feasibility study. And I have been, I'll recognize Councilman.
Thank you, Chairperson Menninger. Yeah, and then I think you were going to say it, but I would like you to refer this for 30 days. The UWL didn't get the paperwork over to Mr. Ackland until this afternoon, and we want planning and legal to have a chance to go through it.
Thank you. There's a request for a 30-day referral. Motion by Councilmember Ostrom and a second by Councilmember Christians to refer for 30 days. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. That would be referred. Item 19-1039, a resolution approving a reorganization to the table of positions and classifications for the police parking utility. Motion by Councilmember Jansen, second by Councilmember Sliznico to approve. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 19-1065, resolution authorizing acceptance of grant and the purchase of one 35-foot clean diesel bus. Motion by Councilmember Jansen, second by Councilmember Ostrom to approve. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 19-1070, a resolution approving the First Amendment to Agreement for Sanitary Sewer Conveyance and Treatment between the City of La Crosse, Wisconsin, and the City of La Crescent, Minnesota. There's a motion by Councilmember Happel, a second by Councilmember Jansen to approve. Any discussion? Councilmember Ostrom.
So I'm curious about this agreement in that some areas were removed and another area added, and there's no additional flow that they're paying for. So I'm kind of baffled by that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request that was made by the City of La Crescent to in essence, exchange some lands that were previously allowed for development and to swap it out for lands that will be developed. So there is no net difference. It's basically an amendment which will allow for them to move forward with a project. And I think even with their attempt with the City of Unalaska to wrestle control of the sewer system and the Metropolitan Sewer District discussion, this amendment here shows that the City of La Crosse is being reasonable and will work with folks if it's a reasonable proposal, and I would encourage you to move forward and adopt this.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 19-1075, a resolution confirming the sale, determining rates of interest and other details, and levying taxes in connection with not to exceed $7,160,000 aggregate principal amount of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2019A, the City of La Crosse, La Crosse County, Wisconsin. Motion by Councilmember Ostrom and second by Councilmember Christians to approve. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 19-1076, a resolution confirming the sale, determining rates of interest and other details, and levying taxes in connection with the issuance of not to exceed $1,450,000 aggregate principal amount of general obligation promissory notes, Series 2019B, the City of La Crosse, La Crosse County, Wisconsin. Motion by Councilmember Christians, second by Councilmember Ostrom to approve. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 19-1079, resolution approving a reclassification of the administrative coordinator position of the La Crosse Regional Airport. Motion by Councilmember Jansen, second by Councilmember Sliznico to approve. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 19-1119, a resolution confirming the appointment of Ian Turner as Director of the La Crosse Regional Airport, tentatively effective September 6, 2019. Motion by Councilmember Sliznico, second by Councilmember Jansen to approve. Any discussion? Councilmember Richmond?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I think I heard just from our HR director, it's going to be September 9th that he will start. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And we do not have a bargaining update, so I would look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Councilmember Ostrom and second by Councilmember Christians to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you.